All right, this is vlog number 1. This period of confinement, staying inside, government mandated, helping to quell the spread of the coronavirus. Can't really go outside, not going hiking, not going to the beach, not surfing, so what do? Organically doing things that you've been meaning to get to, and that's very much been my experience. Working on my own projects, learning more advanced Spanish, writing, reading a lot more, doing some very detailed journaling, making collages. I've also just been kind of, disconnecting from the internet for long periods of time. In the lead up to the actual outbreak here in Europe, I was getting drawn into the news cycle very extensively. I don't know, it didn't seem to affect me that much at first, but then everything came to a head. And I had like 2 nights in a row of these crazy fever dreams, more or less. And that's when I kind of realized that I had to do something different. As one of my favorite authors, James Clear, argues, the way that you spend your time, you either consciously or you unconsciously develop new habits. So I've been very conscientious of what habits I'm developing during this time, trying to maximize use of the time, certainly, but then also relishing in it as best as I can, despite, the sick people, the deaths, the way that this is affecting the entire world at this point. Really being able to slow down and kind of savor the passing moments. And there's that f***ing saw. Anyways, getting back on track, the reason for doing this is my sister Fiona, living in Ho Chi Minh City, challenged me, kind of jokingly, to do a dramatic reading of the blog post that I published. La Calima, a desert sandstorm from the Sahara. Before La Calima hit Las Palmas, I had only heard of it in passing conversations. Excuse my cough, it's because of La Calima. It's not even that cloudy today. It just looks hazy because of La Calima. La Calima comes from Africa. There are guys working across the alleyway here, so especially dramatic this time. People battling the sand. Aside from this group, we were able to count on maybe 2 hands the number of tourists we saw outside in the sandstorm that Sunday. The town of Maspalomas normally experiences high levels of tourist traffic on the weekends. Carnival is a critical part of the calendar year for the Canarian people. In addition to being a time of great fiesta, when Spaniards truly earn their reputation for having a robust work-life balance. The businesses rely on the revenues from the large crowds of carnival goers who dine and drink merrily, often beginning early in the day and going late into the night. When all of a sudden the city government, mandates that an event be canceled and the majority of the population end up staying at home, restaurants and vendors are going to take an enormous hit. After the weather normalized that following week, I stopped by the stand of a local vendor who sells roscas, also known as Canadian popcorn. As I gave her 50 cents for a small bag of spicy roscas, I heard her say over the phone that the canceling of Los Indianos fue un puto desastre. For those who need a translation, I recommend the website Spanish Dict. In a recent phone conversation with an American friend who currently lives in Paris, I remarked that Shakespeare produced some of his most important works during the plagues of the early 1600s. He wrote these plays, whoever Shakespeare actually was. We joked that so far, aside from some promising developments on treatment for COVID-19, all that seems to have happened is the circulation of some very funny memes. Certainly people's sense of humor has not diminished during this wild and crazy time, but may the arts flourish. That's all for now. Yoni, I did this for you. Yomi. Also say hello to my Spanish roommate, Jorge. ¿Qué pasó, mi niño? Venga, tío, vamos.
¿Estoy en directo?
Sí.
Hostia.
Sí, estamos en vivo.
Es que ya very cold.
Very cold? ¿Tú usas huevos?